Hello, game-driven players. Today we're going to talk about a brand new game in 2026 called Teebox. It's a variation under Arena, which is our sports game room, and it simulates disc golf, or regular golf if you like, but same kind of gameplay as regular golf. It's just in disc golf you throw frisbees and you land in a basket instead of a hole. There is a skin where you can switch it over to regular golf if that's more fun for you, but it doesn't change the gameplay at all. So I have invited my partner here, Game Driven, to a game of Teebox, and at the beginning of the game, we'll see that you have 18 holes. These 18 holes are randomly selected, and there are 6 par 4s and 12 par 3s. You'll see what par they are next to the tee box. This is your tee box. This is your basket. This is a par 3. The 6 holes that are par 4s are always the same order within the 18 holes, but they're different holes because, we randomize the maps. So the maps are going to be different for every shot, or for every round, I should say. You play a single round of golf. You play against your opponent and 2 other bot players. One's called Albert Ross, the other one's called Max Duffer. Max Duffer's the, poorer player. Albert Ross, or a pun on albatross, is a very good player, probably just as good as you and your opponent. You must beat both bots in order to win this game, otherwise it's a tie. So even if you beat your opponent but one of the bots wins, then it's a tie for both players. So we start this game much like Battlezone with a setup step, and that setup step builds our bag. So I'm going to go ahead and build the bag, and building your bag is kind of like selecting your frisbees or selecting your clubs. You're trying to maximize certain features of your game. So the three types of boost that you get for your game are power, aim or accuracy, and shot selection. And so you're going to see the impact of these different boosts as we play the game. But at the beginning, you have 15 random points, or extra points, I should say. You start with 10 boost in each category. Can't go below 10. But then these 15 can be apportioned as you see fit, kind of based on what it is that you like to do. I'm just going to make them all 15 on my... So just add 5 across, but obviously you can do more on one and less in another. So save that bag. And in the control panel, you'll see the first number here is how many boosts you have and what for a particular shot you've used, which of these boosts you've used in a particular shot. So as I said, that's the first step for both golfers. So when I look at the game here against Game Driven at the beginning, I'm going to put 10 actually in my shot selection and leave power alone. That's going to be my choice. So I have a different set of clubs theoretically, more long distance or more accurate shots versus long distance shots, which the power would help with. So you say, well, how do I shoot? First off, you don't interact with the map at all. All your actions are going to be down in the control panel. The map is simply a visual thing to show you what's going on in the game. So it's more the status. And you'll notice this is each hole's number, and the highlighted hole is 1. You can look at other holes during your shot just to see what's laying ahead. Sometimes that might be helpful to your strategy, just to find out where did all these holes end up. And as I said, there's different pin placements. Every one of these maps can be deployed as a 3 or 4 par. So even though the map may be the same map on a different course, it may be a par 4 because they move the basket. So that's how that works, just like in real golf. So the scorecard here is just me and my opponent. So this is on hole 1, what I score, what my opponent scores. And after you've set up your bag, you tee off. And one thing I should tell you is that the basket is zone 0. So what you're trying to do is progress up the course. It's always from the bottom here where your tee pad is, up the course, avoiding obstacles and getting into zone 0. You're starting as far away as possible. if you want to see the different grid here, you can click the grid and see these are the spots where your frisbee or ball can land. And this is a heat map that shows the white being the hole, the slightly less, white, the kind of green thing here is actually the closest to what we call circle one in disc golf, but it's closest to the hole. And then the darker greens as they go out are that much further. You can actually see a number on each of these if you click the radar again. And so these are 0, that's 1, this is zone 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So zone 7 is the rough. So this is in a tree or a bush or some area that's difficult, a rock, some area that's difficult footing to take a shot. It's not a penalty, but it is a less accurate shot. On hole 2 here, we'll see there's also out of bounds. So the red here is out of bounds. There wasn't any out of bounds on hole 1, but hole 2 does have out of bounds. And most holes do have some out of bounds. So that's the worst you can do because you get a penalty stroke if you hit that. But that just gives you an idea of where those areas are. Let me turn that off and turn off the grid. And so we'll go back to my shot. So when I tee off, what does it mean to take a shot? To take a shot, you apply any boosters that you want to the shot. And I'm not going to apply any for my first shot. I'm just going to tee off. And what happens is you get 3 dice. The dice are always in descending order. And the die that you will then use for your shot will be the furthest to the left, which is the highest die. So I got a 7 or a throwing in the rough. So I shanked it off the tee and I ended up in the rough area. Didn't get a penalty stroke, but didn't progress much. And I'm in a difficult spot. And you'll see there's my little blue disc. It's got 1 on it for first shot. And so I'm kind of stuck there. And that's my entire first turn, is to take my tee shot. So then we'll go over here. Get the right game. There we are. And I'm going to tee off for her. And she is going to improve her aim. So she's going to improve her aim twice. So one use of boost on aim will eliminate any out of bounds. 2 boosts will eliminate any rough. So that means the worst zone she's going to get off this shot is a 6. Now, hopefully she rolls better than that, but she has eliminated the possibility of throwing out of bounds or throwing into a bush on her first shot. So we'll tee, and so she ended up with a 5. So she's in zone 5. So that's the effect of using the aim booster. You can't use more than 2 total boosts on a given shot. So you can either do 0, you can do 1, you can do 1 on 2 different boosts, or you can do 2 on a single boost. But that's the most you can use on any given shot. And so the strategy, or how you're actually playing this game, is deciding what are the best times to use your different boosts and trying to provision these over the course of 18 holes to maximize your score. That's really the strategy of the game. So she is in hole 5. Once both players tee off, then it goes back to the first player, and that first player now keeps shooting until they get their ball or disc into the basket or hole. So we'll go ahead and take a shot, and this time I'm going to improve. I'll show how the shot booster works. The way the shot booster works is it's going to select the second best dice instead of the worst. So this is first best, second best, third best. And so normally you get the third best shot. But by clicking the shot booster, you're now going to move over to the second best shot, which improves your chances of getting a better result. So we're going to take the shot, and you'll see. Had I not done that, I would have ended up in the bush again because it's a difficult shot. But instead, I ended up real close to the basket in circle 1. Now, circle 1 is almost a guaranteed making into the basket on your next shot. Not always, like 95% chance you're probably going to make it. So to take my next shot, I'm not going to use any boost because that would probably be wasted. And so I'll just take the shot and boom, I'm in the basket. And so I ended up with a par on the first hole, which isn't bad considering I shanked it. But I did have to use some boost on the second shot. in order to improve my chances there. So I ended up with a par. So we'll go over to her, and she's going to take a shot. Now she's going to try to improve the power of this shot. She could still throw it into the bushes if she doesn't use two aims, and she's not going to do that. But she wants to improve the power of her shot to try to get it closer to the hole, and we'll see the effect that has. So because she did that, she normally would have ended in zone 2, but this little red dot here means it subtracted one of the pips off the die. It improved it one more zone, and she's now in zone 1. So you'll see there she is right next to the basket. I'm already in the basket, but she's right there. And so her next shot's just going to be a regular shot, and boom, she's also in the basket. And that's the end of that hole. We proceed like this until we do all 18 holes. If I'm going to show you a bogey and a birdie here using some of our shots so that you can see how the score changes. Normally, a bogey is going to be in red, and a birdie or better is going to be in blue. Actually, a albatross or a hole-in-one is in green. But there will be a color code as we go in here just to show out. The regular shots, the par shots, are just in white with black text, and that's it. So you'll see Albert Ross already got a birdie, so he's actually leading everybody. If you click any of the scores, then you see where the par 4s are. I mentioned there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll always be holes 3, 6, 9, 11, 15, and 18. Those will always be the par 4s. This is a par 60 course, so that's always going to be the case. But the holes will the map holes, the whole maps will change on every round because we randomly put the maps out there. So be aware of that. So every matchup that you have against different opponents will be a very different map. Okay, so let's go back to the score sheet, and I'm asked to click to the next hole because I didn't see her results, so I wanted to see it, and now I get to tee off. So we will tee off here, and I'm gonna play poorly because I want to see if I can get a bogey. So I'm not gonna do any boost. I'm just gonna tee off and take whatever's. I'm in 5, and then she will tee off, and she's gonna try to really improve her chances. She's gonna improve the aim and the shot. So she got to a 2 right away, so that's a pretty good spot. Very close. And then, as I said, after you take your first shot, then you're going to keep playing until you get into the basket. I didn't use any boost. Now I'm in the woods. Take another shot. Now I'm in zone 4, kind of bouncing around, not really getting close. All right, then I got to 1, which is pretty good, and take a shot again, and boom, I ended up with a double bogey. So I'm at +2, as you can see here. And for her, she is going to take a shot, and she's going to improve the shot and the power, really trying to get into the hole. And bam, she did. I actually did not need the shot selection to get a birdie. All I needed was the power improvement, and that ended up being good. So you see what happened. I got a birdie 2. My opponent got a bogey, double bogey 5, and that you'll continue this way. 3 players are tied at -1, and Mick is at +2, and that's really the whole game. So if you've played golf before, then you're gonna understand this game pretty easily. If you prefer the skin to be regular golf, you can go to your preferences, and you can choose on Teebox to go to regular golf and save that. And then when you go into your game, you're going to see flags instead of baskets. You're going to see a golf bag. You're going to see a little player with a golf ball, and you're going to see golf balls. So it's really just an aesthetic. If you prefer the golfer aesthetic, you can do that. That's really the only options that you have for preferences in this game. So that's golf. I hope you like the new game that we put out here. It's in the Arena game room, and enjoy the links.